Dear students, this lecture is continuation of the previous lecture. In previous lecture, we have stated closed graph theorem and we have also completed proof of first part. So if you remember, in first part, graph of t, let me call it as G, and it is collection of all ordered pairs xtx where x belongs to B. So in first part we proved that if t from B to B dash is continuous, if t from B to B dash is continuous, then graph of t, that is G, is closed subset of B cross B dash. So this is what we have seen so far. Recall the statement of closed graph theorem. T is linear transformation from Banach space B to B dash, and graph of T is collection of all pre-images and images, all these ordered pairs. Then T is continuous if and only if graph of T is closed subset of B cross B dash. So we are done with first part. Now in second part, we will assume that G is closed subset, G or graph of T I can say. Let G is equal to graph of T be a closed subset, of B cross B dash, be a closed subset of B cross B dash. We are going to prove converse of this statement in second part. If G is closed subset, then T is continuous. Okay? So we want to prove that T is continuous. T is continuous. Define norm 1, norm subscript 1 on B as norm of Z1 or norm 1 of Z equals to norm of Z plus norm of TZ. It is easy to verify that this is a norm on B. Thus, we have two spaces. First space is B norm and second space is B norm 1. Note that norm and norm 1 both are norms on same set B. Okay? So you clearly understand that norm and norm 1 are norms on set B. Okay? Let us consider a function t from B norm to B norm 1. then norm of Tz is clearly less equal to norm of Z plus norm of Tz, because we are adding something non-negative to this. So norm of Tz is clearly less equal to norm of Z plus Tz, and this equals to norm of Z1 or norm 1 of Z for all Z belongs to P. Recall the definition of continuous linear transformation. Norm of Tz is less equal to this. So this implies that norm of Z1 for all Z belongs to B. So by definition of bounded or continuous linear transformation, we can say that T from B norm to B norm 1 is continuous or bounded. Remember this statement. We'll need this, so I may call this as say statement star 1. I'll refer to it later on. Remember the statement star 1, which states that T from B to B norm 1 is continuous. This is norm linear space B norm, and this is another norm linear space B norm 1. B is same set, but norms are different. That's why these are two distinct norm linear spaces. Okay, so this is the beginning of our second part. Now we will consider this norm linear space B norm 1, and we are going to prove that it is a complete norm linear space, that is, it is a Banach space. So to prove that B norm 1 is complete norm linear space, that is Banach space, complete norm linear space. It is already a norm linear space. We have to establish the completeness of this is complete norm linear space, that is Banach space. To prove that it is a complete norm linear space, take a Cauchy sequence, xn in B norm 1. A metric space is complete if every Cauchy sequence is convergent. So we have to prove that this is complete. So we begin by taking a Cauchy sequence xn in B norm 1. Since norm 1 of xn is equal to norm of xn plus norm of txn, which equals to norm of xn1. So this is what I mean. Norm 1 of xn is greater equal to norm of xn, and same is true for norm of txn as well. Norm of txn is less equal to norm of xn plus norm of txn, which is equal to norm 1 of xn. So both of these, norm xn as well as norm of txn, are less equal to norm xn1. If this is a Cauchy sequence, what I mean is this: xn is a Cauchy sequence with respect to norm 1. So a sequence which is less equal to this, corresponding terms of this sequence xn, there might be a possibility of confusion. So let me clearly have the picture of xn and txn. xn is a sequence in B norm, txn is a sequence in B norm, B dash norm. These two are distinct norms that you take into account, and xn is also a sequence in B norm 1. So to avoid confusion, I'm explaining this fact. xn is Cauchy sequence in B norm 1, and since norms of these two sequences are less equal to norm 1 of xn, the fact that xn is Cauchy sequence in B norm 1 implies that xn and txn are also Cauchy sequences in B norm and B dash norm respectively. Try to understand. I repeat it. These are Cauchy sequences. xn is Cauchy sequence with respect to norm 1. Since norm xn and norm txn are less equal to norm xn with respect to norm 1 and norm xn with respect to norm 1, I mean norm 1 of xn and norm 1 of xn, these two are also Cauchy sequences. So basically what I am saying, as this is a Cauchy sequence, these two are also Cauchy sequences, because norms of corresponding terms are less equal to norm 1 of xn. Okay, so this is what we are saying. Hence xn and let me separately write. Hence xn is Cauchy sequence. Hence xn is Cauchy sequence in B norm, and txn is Cauchy sequence in B norm 1, B dash norm, or you can simply say B dash. Okay, since B and B dash are complete, xn converges to some x in B, and txn converges to some y in B dash. By definition of limit point, or let me add one step before we apply the definition of limit point. So xn txn is a sequence in G. I'll put it in this fashion to denote that it is a sequence. xn txn is sequence in G which converging to point xy in B cross B dash. Now by definition of limit point, note that we have a sequence xn txn in G which converges to xy in B cross B dash. So by definition of limit point, hence xy is limit point of G. xy is limit point of G, which is graph of G. Graph of T is limit point of G. Okay, so hence xy is limit point of G. As G is closed, it contains all its limit points, hence xy belongs to G. This implies that Tx is equal to y. This implies that Tx is equal to y. This implies that Tx is equal to y. So let me call this as stall 2. This is statement says stall 2. Star 1 we have already referred here. Another statement, Tx is equal to y. So if we now consider the sequence, say norm of, not sequence, I will consider norm of xn1 norm of xn, let me think over it. We have proved that Tx is equal to y. So I want to recall that we want to establish the fact that B norm 1 is complete, and we have taken a Cauchy sequence xn. So norm of xn1 I could write it as norm of xn minus x plus txn minus x. So norm of xn minus x1 I will consider here. This I can write it as norm of xn minus x plus norm of txn minus x, that is actually t of xn minus x, and by linearity I could write it as norm of txn minus tx. Since xn converges to x and txn, which is, let me put here, add one more step so that it will be clear, xn minus x, and this I could write actually as txn minus y from stall 2 because tx equals to y. Okay, now xn converges to x, this is what we have. So xn converges to x. We also have the fact that txn converges to y, so this converges to y, and both are convergent and Cauchy sequences. So it now follows that xn also converges to x with respect to norm 1 in B dash. Because both are convergent, so this is also going to be convergent with respect to norm. Let me put all these facts in words. Since xn converges to x in B norm, txn converges to Txn converges to phi in B dash norm, we can say by using this statement Xn converges in fact we can say that Xn converges to X in space B norm 1. You clearly get the difference. This convergence is in B norm, but this convergence is in B norm 1. Okay, so Xn converges to X in B norm 1. Thus we proved that every Cauchy sequence Xn in B norm 1 is convergent. Hence we can have the conclusion now that B norm 1 is complete space. So every Cauchy sequence in B norm 1 is convergent. Hence B norm 1 is Banach space or complete norm linear space. It is Banach space, means it is complete norm linear space. Now finally we are going to prove that B and B norm 1 are homeomorphic. So for that purpose consider the identity function I from B norm. You can consider it from B norm to B norm 1 or conversely as well. Both will work. Set is same but norms are different. That is the only thing. Defined by Iz is equal to Z. So identity function is always bijective. It is 1 1 and on 2 and so on. The continuity of Iz also follows easily by using this relation that I is continuous as it is bounded. And why is it bounded? Because norm of Iz 1, this is a function, norm of Iz, it is equal to norm of Z and it is less equal to norm of Z plus norm of Tz, and that is equal to what? Norm 1 of Z. Okay, so for this reason I is continuous and bounded. It is also linear and 1 1, and I inverse is also continuous. I is continuous, I inverse is going to be same function, so it is also continuous for this reason. Thus I is homeomorphism. Hence B norm is homeomorphic to B norm 1. Say this is statement star 3. Recall what was star 1. In star 1 we had a function t from B to B norm 1 which was continuous, and as these two are isomorphic from star 1 and star 3, just rewind the video and see what was statement star 1. You will find that star 1 states that t from B to norm and B to norm 1 are continuous. So from star 1 and star 3, t from B2 norm to B to norm 1, which was star 1, as these two are isomorphic, T from B norm to B norm is continuous. Recall that star 1 was norm 1 here. So this is what we wish to prove. T from B to just a minute, I think I should put here B to B dash. Okay, and T was function from B to B1 dash in that case. So considering a little possibility of correction, you may correct the statement star 1. It was function from B1 to, it was function from, a slight correction is involved here that you take into account. I should have written B norm 1 I could have written, and B dash norm 1, so that I could replace. So T is function from B to norm 1 in that case, and as these two are now isomorphic, we have our required conclusion. It is continuous. Okay, so taking into account this correction, we have arrived at the desired conclusion. Thank you.